Good evening. This is Professor Scott Norman, and we have another installment of Gorillas in the Midst of the Automotive Industry. Today, we are speaking with a 2014 PSU alumni, Geoffrey Cothran. And Geoffrey, welcome to our show.
Hey, yeah, it's good to speak with you again, Scott.
I know. It's been 2014. I tend to tell my students, it seemed like just last year you were at PSU, but it's been more than a few years, right?
Yeah. Some days it's like it's yesterday, and other days it feels like it was a decade ago.
Well, you know what? It's great to be to get caught up. I love doing these interviews where I could talk to students and hear all the exciting things that you guys are doing. Living to you guys, because I remember being out in the industry and how exciting it was and how much fun it was. And so I tend to love to hear your guys' stories. So let's start off by just going back and tell us a little bit about where you're from, maybe your high school experience. Did you have any automotive classes before coming to PSU? Did you have any work experience before you come into PSU?
Yeah, so I probably have a little bit of a more abnormal story than most Pitt State alumni. I actually grew up in Midland, Texas, out in West Texas. It's about 9.5, 10 hours from Pitt.
That's a good drive, that's for sure.
Yeah. So actually, I thought I wanted to be a history teacher until my senior year of high school. I took an automotive class as a blow-off, and here I am now. Yeah, so I competed in Skills USA my senior year of high school and placed first in the region and second in the state of Texas. And I knew I wanted to be in the industry from then on. It was just trying to decide if I wanted to turn wrenches or work in the business side of things. And I decided I wanted to try to find a program somewhere with a bachelor's degree, whether that was getting an associate's first and then working over toward a 4-year program after that. And I was doing some research and ran across Pitt State, and seemed like a cool college, and visited and fell in love with the campus, so made it happen.
Oh, cool. That sounds interesting. Very, very cool. I'm from St. Louis, so again, I was the same thing. Way far away, drove in. I remember driving through the cornfields to get here, thinking, what am I doing? 18, 19 years old, driving through all these cornfields, saying, man, I don't know about this place. This is a small town. I'm compared to St. Louis, a very large town, and wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. But glad I did it. That's for sure.
Yeah, same. Not nearly as big as St. Louis, but Midland's about 100,000, and then Odessa has grown together, and they're another 110.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big change going from that population down to 20,000 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I guess Pitt's like 12.
Well, yeah. Well, with students, it's 20,000. So
Yeah.
we say 20,000 students, our population with students. So tell me a little bit about your area of study when you were at PSU, and maybe if you got any type of experience while you're at PSU, any type of summer internships or anything like that.
Sure. So I actually started in 2009, so it took me a couple of years. I decided to have too much fun my freshman year, so that's I guess a good lesson for incoming students. You got to still go to class.
Still got to go to class. I agree. Yes.
So because of that, it kind of hindered me from getting as many opportunities to have summer internships, because I was trying to make up for my indiscretions my freshman year. So I ended up going home my first year and working in a machine shop in Midland. And then my second summer, my second year, I worked there at Pitt during the school year as a paid lab assistant for manual trans and engines. And that was really when I started to decide I think I wanted to be more on the teaching side of things. My emphasis was diesel and heavy equipment, but I had talked with you probably back then, maybe it was a year later, about switching to the training program y'all had at the time, which I think has been disbanded.
Yeah, we don't do that very often anymore, just because there wasn't very many students that were actually choosing that option.
Yeah. So I ended up working there at the school, and then I was a parts guy for J. Hatfield Motorsports for a year, and
I remember
that was interesting to learn kind of the parts side of things. It's as far as like just in time type of stuff, people ordering things and getting parts just in time to the dealership for recalls and all that fun stuff. And then I decided to get married while I was still in school, so I needed a full-time job. So my senior year, I got a job as a maintenance worker at a nursing home there in Pittsburgh. So I was working 40 plus hours, going to school for 12 hours, and I was actually your teaching assistant for breaks my senior year.
Yes, I remember that. It was a fantastic job. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's when I really knew I wanted to be somewhat on the instructor side, but I still wanted to be in the diesel and heavy equipment industry, so I was trying to balance that. But yeah, that's kind of what I did whenever I was at Pitt. I didn't do too many extracurriculars as far as the auto industry goes, but I was really involved in church there, and I was in the CAM program, Christian Automotive Majors.
Yep. We still have that. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I tell my students, if you're working 40 hours a week plus taking a full load of classes, there's no way you're going to be able to do everything. So you're not going to be able to join organizations or anything like that. And I think most employers recognize that if you're working full time and going to school, that's a big deal. And so that's a big accomplishment. And so,
yeah, it was definitely the hardest I've ever worked in my life for the least amount of money.
yeah, that tends to happen. Yeah. College students are not rich students here. They're,
No.
we're working to be able to pay rent and pay insurance and to buy food and stuff like that as we're going to classes. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you did after you graduated PSU in 2014.
So it's actually a pretty cool story. My senior year of high school, we had to write goals before we could graduate. The counselor wanted us to all sit down and write some type of goal. And I had just finished skills, and most of the engines we were working on the diesel side of the skills competition were Cummins engines. So my senior year of high school, I said I wanted to work for Cummins. And my first job out of Pitt State was with Rapid Serve, which was their version of the tech support hotline there at Cummins.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do in that job, because I do talk about that as, the hotline type job. Ford kind of offers that, but also does Cummins. And so tell us a little bit for maybe students who don't understand what that type of job is.
Yeah, so theirs was a little different. I think it's changed quite a bit since I left Cummins, but their Rapid Serve program was you started out taking warranty calls and helping warranty admins develop a claim and go through the process of filing the claim. And then the longer you were there, they started moving you more into technical parts of the call center. And you were literally taking calls on every Cummins product, whether that was a 2.3 liter all the way up to their 95 liter high horsepower engines. And you're mostly taking calls from technicians that are struggling with the diagnostic side and helping them determine root cause, as well as helping them make sure what they found is going to be warrantable.
Cool.
Once I was there for a couple of months, I moved into that technical role. I was doing that for probably about 4 months, and then they moved me over to training, which I was training incoming Rapid Serve agents on basic diagnostic skills, because a lot of our employees were contract employees that had limited automotive knowledge, but not so much diesel and heavy equipment. So training them how emissions systems work and fuel systems on a diesel, that kind of thing. And then I got to move to their catastrophic line, which was failure analysis on major engine failures.
Ooh, cool. Boy, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, that was really cool. We got a ton of photos on everything and helped the technician determine what actually caused this engine to split in half,
Wow.
or what have you. What actually caused the failure, and not just saying, oh, well, the engine seized up. Well, why did it seize up? Actually having to discover that.
So you're kind of like a investigator, you know, you're
Yeah,
trying to figure out, you know, I'm thinking more of maybe like a detective trying to
yeah.
figure out, you know, why something happened that way. And so,
And it
but
was
that sounds really neat because you're using problem solving skills and you're using your technical knowledge and, you know, and you're going through and trying to figure that stuff out.
yeah, and it really helped with my diagnostic skills. I mean, you're gonna learn a lot at in college, but once you're actually in the workforce, it makes more sense for some people, and for me, it did, being able to apply that knowledge to actually solving a problem instead of so and so technician A
Yeah.
found this. It's easier to be like, hey Jimmy, what happened?
Yeah, no, I agree. You know,
Yeah,
your college experience is setting you up for that entry level job. But
right,
you know, you grow about this much in college, but
right.
then that first year of work, you know, you're growing that much
It
as far as your experience, and so that really matters. That's for sure.
it does, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
well, tell me a little bit about what you did after that.
so from there, my family was wanting us to move closer to Midland, and my wife at the time, she was wanting to get closer to family in Wichita.
Oh, I
So
understand
yeah,
that.
so we were looking for job opportunities back west from Indiana, which is where Cummins is. Um, so I ended up applying for probably it was a lot of jobs, probably 100 jobs
Oh,
between
wow.
Kansas and Texas, and then I actually had a headhunter on LinkedIn reach out to me about this job with FCA because she saw my LinkedIn profile and my resume and thought I would be a good match for it. So I applied for it, and my boss and his boss reached out to me on the first interview and said, "Hey, we really like what's going on here. We're looking for somebody that has Cummins experience because the majority of the diesel industry, as far as Fiat Chrysler goes, is West Texas and
Oh yeah.
Dallas
Texas is
Fort
a
Worth."
huge truck
Yeah.
market. So yeah.
So it ended up working out. We were able to move toward Dallas. I was originally in Irving, and I've slowly moved further out. My territory is the western half of DFW, Dallas Fort Worth,
Hmm.
and I go as far west as Fort Stockton, which is about 7 hours to the west.
Okay.
Um, I have my coworker is sick right now, so I'm covering his territory too. So I'm covering about 54 dealerships right now,
Oh
working at
wow.
home.
And so there's two tech advisors per business center. Is that right? Or
No,
per area?
there's actually a whole bunch of us now.
Okay.
Whenever I got hired, they were trying to pretty much double how many tech advisors they had. We were having a lot of lemon law and buyback issues that they were trying to get under or taken care of. Um, so I have half of Dallas Fort Worth and West Texas, and my coworker in North Texas has Dallas and East Texas.
Okay. So are you working out of your home or are you going into an office every day?
I actually work out of my house every day, even before the current situation with the coronavirus. I was still working out of my home. I can go to the corporate office in Dallas if I wanted to, but we get to set our own schedules. We're really our own boss as long as we're getting our job done. There's not, other than our quarterly meetings, there's not really any direct daily contact from management.
Yeah, I know that job is so much fun. When I was a Chrysler training instructor for 14 years, the tech advisors would hang out at the training center just because they were wanting to do some research on whatever they were going to go look at that next day or that next week. And so they would talk to us about, hey, what's going on with the new Cummins or what's going on with the new Hemi engine or just whatever the issue was. They were brushing up on that and kind of looking at the stuff that we had because, again, they were working out of their homes. And so they
Yep.
were looking for different resources. So I was able to work with a lot of tech advisors. Kind of funny is that all those stories I tell in the classrooms are a lot of the tech advisors going out and working on a vehicle, then of course bringing back those stories, talking on the phone about trying to help out. So
Yeah.
maybe talk a little bit about your duties as a tech advisor and maybe what that's like going out to the dealership and what those entail.
Yeah, so we have the glamorous fun stuff and the not so fun stuff. So really my main job is helping technicians repair vehicles, and we're usually only involved if it's a vehicle that's getting close to either a buyback or a lemon loss situation. So most of those are going to be in dealerships for their second or third repair, or they've been there for an extended period of time. In Texas, it's lemon laws, 30 days or 3 repair attempts.
Yeah.
And that's 30 days total. So if it was there on 1 repair attempt for 30 days, or it's been there twice and it's getting close to 30 days, it qualifies. So we're going there and helping technicians. Majority of what I do is electrical diag. But we really do everything. I took several calls today on misfires and yeah, just about everything. Lots of diesel engines, obviously.
Okay. So are they calling the Star hotline first, and then if the Star hotline is having a hard time working with them, then it goes to you next? Is that right?
Yeah. So we have a technical support hotline like I did at Cummins. We call it Star. And most of what they do now is online. They don't do too many phone calls, but the other way I usually get sent out to a vehicle is with my counterpart on the Mopar sales side, area manager, who will reach out to me if it's a situation that they believe I should be involved in also.
Okay.
And then we also do other things. Occasionally we do audits whenever they need some technical advice on why something was done a certain way, whether we think it was an over repair or it could have been repaired differently than it was. Lots of assisting service managers with setting up training schedules.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can get our dealerships to meet minimum training requirements, because all dealerships have a certain requirement for how many students are at, or how many technicians are at a certain level.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to tell maybe some high school students about talking about that job. It's like you're like the super tech, or you're the corporate tech, or you're the super diagnostic guy that is, employed by the corporation, but is going around, flies in to try to help a dealership out. Now, are you physically working on the vehicles at the dealerships, or are you working with the technician who's working on the vehicles and you're there to assist them?
So I like to see it as one-on-one training day. I try to get the technician to do as much of it as possible. That way we can fix this car together, and next time he has that problem, he can fix it. And he doesn't need assistance, and he can show other guys in the shop how to fix it when that next car comes in with that same problem. So I try to do as little as possible with my own tools. I have a multimeter and
your own favorite stuff.
My cell phone's probably my biggest tool. I'll pot up to every vehicle and take reports. That way I have evidence that I was there, and if I need to send anything to engineering, because we have lots of engineering software too. But most vehicles, it's just something got missed in that repair process, the diagnostic troubleshooting trees, and we end up finding it like step 5 or something like that. You just go back over. You start back over. If the vehicle's taken apart, sometimes that's more difficult, but majority of the vehicles I work on, we end up fixing it that same day, and it's just something that got overlooked in the process.
Yep, understood. Well, why don't you, as we're kind of finishing up, maybe some advice that you could give, maybe if you're thinking about yourself, or maybe that high school student who's thinking about a career in automotive technology, what type of advice would you give? You being successful out, you graduated, you got your job, you got a really cool job. What type of advice would you give for someone who's looking to maybe try to do something like you?
So my biggest thing that I think has helped me in my career path is setting goals. Um, all the way back from literally the beginning, before I even started at Pitt, I set the goal that I wanted to work for Cummins, and I made that happen. So even if it's something you think is going to be a kind of ludicrous goal, there's no way I'm going to meet that. Write it down. Try to make it happen. Do what you can to make it happen. And little goals like uh, making or increasing your GPA by a certain percent every semester, or goals are a big thing. And I think they really help most people if you're willing to set goals, even those astronomical goals. And then take advantage of the career center there at Pitt once you're there, and do the mock interviews. I think a lot of my issues whenever I was still a student with trying to find internships during the summer was interview skills.
Yeah.
And they don't care if you're a freshman that's been there for a couple months, or you're a senior who just graduated and you're still trying to find a job. The mock interviews are there for everybody, and you really need to take advantage of them. I think once I started taking advantage of them, that's what really helped me actually start my career.
Okay.
And then another big thing is LinkedIn. Everybody's all about social media now, but get a good LinkedIn profile. Even if you pay somebody to help you set it up, it's worth it to have an attractive profile and to network with people, just like you would there during the career fairs, networking with possible employers. You need to be networking with other people in the industry, and if you want to reach out to me, I'm all for it. Even if you're still in high school, I'll help you out. It's worth it to be on a big network with people that you can reach out to for help on your career.
Yeah, that's cool advice, because I am not on LinkedIn, and so I'd have to maybe get my son or something to help me out on getting that figured out. Because again, but we do talk about that at our career classes, that our students need to do that, and so you're a perfect example of getting this awesome job because of that. So tell me this: what type of corporate vehicle do you have? Your field vehicle?
I am in a JL right now. It's a Jeep Wrangler 4-door, and I wanted to try out the new 2-liter because I'm always trying to try the new products. That way I know what's normal, because oftentimes customers will bring a vehicle in and a dealership will try to repair something multiple times. It's a normal characteristic of a vehicle. And being able to know what's normal and what's not really, really helps with my job.
Okay.
And same thing at the training center. I'll go to the training center and test out vehicles just to make sure that, yes, that is how it operates. But yeah, the 2-liter is a pretty cool engine. It's direct injection, turbocharged, and it has an electric motor generator that's 48 volts.
Yeah, that is cool. So now, is that in the new Jeep pickup truck? That 2-liter?
Yes. No, I don't think we have the 2-liter in the pickup truck yet.
I was worried about that.
No, it's just the 3.6, and I believe they're gonna put the 3-liter in it here in any day now, because the 3-liter's in the JL now.
Okay.
Diesel.
And what's your favorite FCA vehicle that you've had, that you're able to, as a field car or something?
I'm a big Cummins guy.
Okay, of course. So.
Yeah, I have my own Cummins as a toy, and my first field car that I actually got to order was a Cummins, and I really liked that truck. But I'm trying to not get the same vehicle every time, just so that I know those normal characters.
Yeah, that was nice about the training center, is that you had the whole training center fleet to be able to choose any day you wanted to drive. But I drove that Cummins truck many times out to the farm because it was just a good product. So I remember doing that. What's new for, let me see, 2021. So we're at the 2021 model. Is there anything you can share with us that's not top secret?
So we got some new products coming out that are going to be pretty cool. I think just about everybody's heard about the Grand Wagoneer and
Yep.
Wagoneer coming out.
I'm kind of excited about that.
I
Yes.
am too. We got a new CAN bus architecture that's going to be in that, so that's going to be interesting to learn the new computer network on it, which I really enjoy. I hated electrical when I was in school, but now I absolutely love it. So that's going to be interesting. I think just about everybody's heard the TRX is actually happening, which is going to be our answer to the Raptor.
Okay.
So that's I think it's going to be officially. It was supposed to be officially announced this month at the Detroit Auto Show, but that got canceled. So it should be announced officially here in a week or two.
Hopefully, you just spill something there.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's been in a bunch of newspapers. They've been releasing spy pictures. If you want to go look for it, it's out there.
Yeah, little tidbits of it, teasers on it and stuff like that. So
yeah, I didn't say anything top secret. I don't think.
I know, you have to be careful because you've been seeing, oh yeah, is that 22 or 23?
Right. No, I mean a lot of these vehicles I've been hearing about since I started. Almost 4 years ago now with FCA.
Yep, and now they're finally coming out. So, well, Jeff, our time is about up. So I wanted to thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story with, hopefully some future automotive technology students. Our goal is to try to spread the word out as far as what type of careers are out there in the automotive industry. Because probably like you as a high school student, we had no idea. I thought, well, maybe a technician is what I was going to be. And so obviously there's hundreds, if not thousands of different jobs out there that you could do besides, a technician, which is what our students are doing right now. And they could stay doing that if they want to, or they could do some very exciting things like what you're doing right now. So thank you very much for your time and good luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing that new Grand Wagoneer coming out.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. I'll have to come up there and see you here pretty soon.
Okay. Talk to you later, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you.